Hey folks, today I'm going to outline my program for what you can be doing to reach fluency in any language. And all you need to do are three main tasks. Okay, my program actually contains 4 tasks. Okay, one of them I call task 0. It's optional, especially for if you're a brand new beginner, you can start with task 0. But otherwise, the main 3 tasks in language learning are always going to be conversation practice, comprehensible input, and focused vocabulary acquisition. Okay, if you want to learn more about this process and where to start and how you can make it all the way through the program to reach fluency in your target language, you can go to my website, sites.google.com/view/path to fluency, and I'll include a link to that in the description below this video. It's totally free, so check that out. Anyways, the first task that you need to accomplish in your target language in order to start to improve and ultimately reach fluency is going to be conversation practice. Okay. Now, I should clarify that there's lots of tasks you can do to learn a new language, right? You can go to class, you can do your homework, fill out the little blanks in your worksheets, right? You can take an exam, you can get someone to listen to you and give you lots of corrections. There's all kinds of things you can do. Okay, but what you have to ask yourself is, what goal are you trying to achieve in your target language? What do you want to be able to do? All right, and whatever you want to be able to do, you have to practice doing. So do you want to get really good at filling out sheets in a workbook, filling in the blank multiple choice? Is that what you want to get really good at? Do you want to get really good at passing an exam in Spanish? Maybe that is what you want. Maybe your only goal is to just pass your Spanish exam by the end of the semester, and then you don't care anymore. And that's fine. Honestly, I have no problem with that if that's what you want to do. Most of us, though, especially if you're watching this video, your goal is to learn how to speak a language. Okay? If you want to get good at speaking a language, you have to speak the language. Practicing verb conjugations is not going to get you there. Just going through a bunch of flashcards ain't going to do it. All right, you have to speak the language. That's why the number one task that I'm going to recommend for you to do is conversation practice. Talk to people. All right, it doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to speak perfectly. You can speak as broken as you want to. You can make all kinds of grammar mistakes. That's fine. Grammar will come as you practice, and you will eventually get better and better and better. So don't worry about making mistakes up front. Just practice your target language. That's the first task. And I call it the first pillar in language learning, right? Because the 3 tasks that I'm going to outline here, they're like the pillars that hold up your language learning. There's other things you can do, right? If you're building a building, then you can put decorations around the side, bushes, shrubberies. You can make it look really pretty, and that's fine. But the things that are going to hold up your building, the structure of your building, the pillars, are going to be conversation practice, comprehensible input, and focused vocabulary acquisition. Okay, so the second of those is comprehensible input. Well, what do I mean by that? I'm going to go into a lot more detail about comprehensible input in future videos in this program. But basically, the 2 main types of comprehensible input that you're going to take in are reading and listening. Okay? Listening could be just listening to audio, like podcasts, or it could be listening while you watch a TV show. Okay? But anyways, these 2 things, reading and listening, are what you can do by yourself for hours and hours and hours. Okay, it's relatively cheap. Okay, if you buy a book for $10 or $20, that could give you 10 or 20 hours of reading practice, right? You can listen to YouTube all day long, watch little videos. You can watch Netflix in your target language. That's something that you can do and just fill your day with language practice. Okay. I've heard that reading is the number 1 most effective thing you can do in order to acquire new vocabulary. Okay, just because if you read and read and read and read and read, I mean, you have to do it a lot, But if you can fill your day with reading, then you're just going to see so many new words, and you're going to see them in black and white on the page. You might not understand what all of them mean right up front, but you're just going to get so much exposure to it that you're just not going to be able to stop yourself from learning new words. Okay, so comprehensible input is taking in lots of input of the language that you're trying to learn. And you have to do it a lot in order for this to be effective, but that is one of the fastest ways that you can learn new words and learn how the words fit into sentences. Okay, and then the third one is focused and strategic vocabulary acquisition. All right, now, obviously, you're going to learn new vocabulary words while you're doing the first two tasks, right? Conversation practice, you're going to run into new words that your conversation partner is saying. Comprehensible input, you're going to read new words, you're going to hear new words on Netflix. Okay, but that's kind of random, all right? If you rely on those two processes for learning new vocabulary words, then you're just sitting there and waiting for new vocabulary words to come to you, which is fine. They eventually will come to you. But especially early on in your language learning, what I recommend is some focused vocabulary acquisition with spaced repetition systems. Okay, I'll talk a lot more about spaced repetition, or SRS, and further on in this process. But basically what you're doing is you're planting seeds. Okay, you have a flashcard, some kind of digital flashcard app or something online that shows you new words. And all that does is it just plants a seed. You just notice it. Okay? You notice a new word because you're paying attention to it. It's a new word that pops up in your flashcard deck. Now that seed is planted. It's a little mental dictionary in your mind. All right? You might forget what the word means, and that's fine. You're actually going to forget the word. You definitely, absolutely will forget words as time goes on. And then you run into the word again and again and again. You might have to look it up a few times. But basically what this is doing is it's just drawing your attention to new words, so that way when you happen to run into them in your conversation practice or in your comprehensible input, now you already have that mental dictionary. You have that category in your mind, and then you can just straight recall it from when you saw the word in your SRS system. And to me, this is a much more systematic way of learning vocabulary, and it's a great support to the first two tasks. So there you have it, the three main tasks you need to accomplish in order to learn a language, at least in my opinion. You know, there's many schools of thought, but these are the three things that I really think are very important to language learning. I am going to talk about a fourth task, or what I call task 0. All right, that's optional, and it's really good for if you are an absolute beginner. I'm going to talk about that in a later video in this series. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.